A quick look at the new Callaway driver. What are you going to do for New Year's resolutions? What we did before the end of the new year is on our trip, since we didn't have it last Monday. Last Monday, and some builds and some fitting information. This is going to be information packed. All next. Welcome back to 2026, right? 2026. We've been doing this for a little bit. I'm going to ask Mrs. McGolf when we got started. We're going to hear that. I bet it's been a few years doing this. Welcome to 2026. Hopefully it's going to be a safe, healthy, and happy new year for all of you guys. So, why is it called What's in My Drawers Golf Talk? Because old club makers and club fitters are tremendous pack rats, and I'm no different. It's about what is in my golf shop. And this is where we talk about golf club repairs, reviews, and fittings, all so your scores can go low. All righty. Got all that out of the way. There's some in my eye. Okay, so we didn't have an episode at the end of the year because Mrs. McGolf and I went on an anniversary tour. Okay, anniversary tour. We've been married for 2,942 years, i.e. that means 42. All right, and it's been a wonderful ride, and hopefully it keeps continuing. And we had a phenomenal ride, phenomenal visit, phenomenal tour. So what this was is Robin wanted to go see the Biltmore at night for an anniversary gift. Fine. My anniversary gift was to go see a bunch of distilleries on the way to that particular stop. Well, then that turned into not only the Biltmore, but we're going to go see the Incline at Chattanooga, Tennessee, and Rock City. So for all of those, you guys going up north, that would tend to go down to Florida or even somewhere in the Panhandle, you inevitably ran by a black barn with a red roof and it said "Visit Rock City," and it's in Chattanooga. And as kids, we've seen it dozens and dozens of times and just never stopped. Well, this time we satiated that curiosity and went and saw it. So this is going to take us a bit, but not too long. I'm going to cut it down. We're not going to talk about all the distilleries that I visited or we visited, but I will say we did make it to Rock City. Boom, there it is. We made it to Rock City. Now, what this is a place where Lover's Leap is at. All right, and when you go to Lover's Leap, you see out a very, very, very long way right there. And when you go and you do that, apparently you can see 7 different states on a clear day. So you're going to see Tennessee, you're going to see Kentucky, you're going to see Georgia, North and South Carolina, Virginia, and I can never remember the 7th one. I think it might be West Virginia, but I'm not real sure. But those are the ones, and it was very clear, as one can tell. Let's see, I'll show you again. It was very clear, but it was very cold, and but it was neat. And what it is, this is all part of Rock City, and so there's all these walking trails, and one of the walking trails was called Fairyland, and I was told by several people not to skip that because they knew I probably would, and so we didn't, and we went in there. It was quite the neat little trek. They take you underground, and it's all about the nursery rhymes from Mother Goose and what those stories entailed. All right, and just as a couple of ones, you can tell what that one is, right? Some Cinderella. These are kind of the Three Blind Mice, Humpty Dumpty, two, and there was a whole bunch more in there, and I could just keep going for a while.
Georgia and Alabama?
Alabama, that was the one. Alabama. Anyway, that was that was really entertaining. You got underneath the rocks and then you walked back out. It was very nice. So the visit was pretty cool. It was worth the effort. Getting around there did very, very well. We ended there with ended the whole thing with a visit to Biltmore. If you guys don't know about Biltmore, it is a ginormous mansion built by the Vanderbilts. Okay, back in the day when the Vanderbilt was probably one of the richest men on the planet. And this is a daytime version of what that looks like. I got close, and that is a nighttime version of it when there's there's a handful of folks outside looking at it. There, that's a little bit, kind of give you the idea. And what you see in these pictures is just the mansion proper. There's stables, there's gardens, there's all kinds of stuff that's out there. Now, where I'm taking this picture is about halfway into this field that's in front of it. I would say courtyard, but that would be pretty good. If you turn around and you look backwards, you see that. And there's a pond that was pretty much getting very close to frozen over, a big lighted Christmas tree, and you go probably another 40 or 50 yards, and there's the back end of that thing. This place was humongous, okay? And the story behind it, I would not do it justice to tell it. So honestly, I'd say just take the time and go see it. But I will show you just some of these. There's just some of the opulence that you can see in there. As you go through these rooms, they're just absolutely stunning. Okay, absolutely stunning. And what they do is they give you a phone, and this phone, you just click a number and you put up to and explains to you what you're looking at. It was very, very cool. I mean, the whole thing was just really, really nice. Of course, they got a place for you to buy tchotchkes and all kinds of other stuff, and a little place to get a bite to eat for that matter. So I will give you, if you decide that you want to go there, there is 2 sets of parking lots. There's an A-B parking lot where they say you can walk up in there, and then there's the rest of the parking lot where a trolley will come and get you, meaning a small bus. And the walk from the parking lot at the edge of the parking lot is about a 6 to 8 minute walk, and it's mostly all uphill getting there, and of course all downhill coming back. If you're not a walker, go to the other ones and let the bus take you there. All right. And it's funny that the bus really goes through the A and B. They could have just dropped you off on the way there, but they're not having any of that. Okay. So we got back. The last bit is I had to put up the spoils of our tour.
5 years of live stream.
5 years. Woohoo, look at that. And I put up our spoils of war, as I like to call it. And we like to collect metal signs, and that's a metal wall that you see right there. All the stuff on the right you see a broomstick hanging about 2/3 to the right. All that is Tennessee signage that we got from the folks that had signs. Plus, there was one extra from Buzzard's Roost over on the other side. So Chattanooga Whiskey, Nelson Greenbrier, Nashville Barrel, Leaper's Fork, George Dickel, Bootleggers, Jack Daniels, Uncle Nearest, and Company Distilling. So that's all the folks that were there. So had a great time. Learned a lot about Tennessee whiskeys. Actually got to see a couple of really nice golf courses there. We went down there the first 2 days. It was 70 degrees, easily golf weather. And if our day wasn't full, I was just like, man, I wish I would have brought my clubs. But there was one tucked away in a very, very nice neighborhood where the houses were quite big and quite pricey, I'm sure. And that's where the golf course weaves in between them. It's not my favorite type of layout, but it was very golf oriented, so I thought that was pretty nice. All righty, so I'm going to do a test here. Yep, I thought so. Let's do that. There we go. Now we're locked back in. All righty, so I'm holding off this Callaway thing until the very, very end. So, got back and Mrs. McGolf had scheduled us some fittings. But prior to the fitting, we had to put together a set of Titleist. There's Titleist 350s. Now, take a look at that ferrule. That is not a normal ferrule. All right, and so this golfer did not like the look of ferrules and realized that and really liked Pings. Well, Ping uses ferrules now, and he did not like that. So he went and got himself a set of these 350s with the idea that I could just pop them off and put these things on. Well, not necessarily. So anyway, this is a fitting story from before our tour. And we found out he needed to stand taller at address, need to not reach out as much. And as soon as he did that, he started picking up the pace, hitting it way, way better. But we also found out that the shafts that he had selected were far too stiff. But he liked the feel of them. So what we did is we just got some regular shafts of the very same thing, which I thought would be great because the red AMTs tend to play a little stiffer than advertised, and they did. And so we got those, and we got a regular set put in there, and I put this smaller ferrule on there so it didn't look so outrageous. So that's a 1/4 inch 370 ferrule, and it fit famously. And then we ended up putting, there's the AMTs that we put in it. Now, I will say this, the AMT is ascending mass technology, right? And at the top of the club, it played a little soft. And this is kind of what happens when you have that, because when you add mass, in order to keep everything the same, it will eventually get stiffer because you got to put the same amount of weight into a smaller space. Okay, that's just what you got to do. And anyway, so what happened is the top two, which is the 5 or 6 iron, which are your distance clubs, play a little softer, which is really what you want, right? Gets up in the air. And the bottom of the clubs played a little bit stiffer in order for that control. So it worked out very, very, very well. The last bit is we got him into some Jumbo Max, all right? The Jumbo Max. Now, this is perfect because these are the tour models. So they're very heavy. So there's a lot of weight in your hands. I broke a lot of myths with this golfer and what the thought process were. And I let him hit. He says, "Oh, I like the weight down the head." I said, "You do, huh?" So I gave him a set of shafts like my Jumbo Max fitting, and I gave him the ultralight, which puts all the weight in the head because it's this ultralight grip. And then I gave him the tour. Guess which one he liked? He liked the tour. Now, to say that, what that did is it just added a bunch of total weight to the club, not necessarily swing weight to the club. The swing weight was very light, but with all that weight in your hands, you literally couldn't tell it. So I think he got himself a very well matched set. We checked the lofts and lies; they're all exactly where they need to be now, and I think he's going to enjoy this set. All right. So from another fitting perspective, just this weekend, I had what I would call probably two very, very enjoyable. If this is the way that the year is going to be, we are going to have a great year. So the very first one was a revisit from a high school girl that we had fit a while back, in about 4 or 5 months. And because of the clubs that we gave her and some of the instruction that we gave her, she went to the state for her class. Okay, she went to the state for her class, and she dropped a bunch of strokes. Now keep in mind, around here the girls' programs are not as strong as say the boys are, but she finished with an average like in the very high 80s, low 90s. So that's saying something for just getting started. Very athletically gifted, very smart gal. And she came in and says, "Oh, I can't hit the club. I can't do this. I can't do that." Irons are pretty solid, and but the driver was just insanely out of sight to the right. I'm like, "All right, well, let's take a look." So I let her hit her irons, and I was thinking, well, she spurted up about 2 or 3 inches in just 4 months. I thought certainly that couldn't be it, but maybe, right? Very long armed, and what we saw was she had changed her stance a little bit to very open. And when she did that, her swing was very in line with her feet, and she didn't do a lot with her wrists. Got right up to the very top, held onto it, and then just brought it in. Well, when you're open, you're cutting across the ball. And I said, "So you're playing a fade, right?" And she goes, "Oh yeah." And I said, "How about we stop that a little bit?" And so we squared her up. I didn't do anything crazy. It was the difference between this, right? And we just made her do like that. Yep, sure did. And anyway, once she did that, and I said, "Now you got to learn to bring the club back." She did it automatically and actually hit the ball better. Okay, hit the ball more in the center of the face, gained basically a half a club just because of quality of hit. Now, that wasn't me changing a golf club or anything because we'd already previously fit her. This was a swing issue that kind of developed over the time of playing a lot of golf. Got that figured out. Now we get to the driver. Same thing, except for now she's reaching way out. Right? She's reaching very, very far out, and I'm going, "You're fading everything, right?" She goes, "Yes." And then I look at the top of her golf club, and there's all those little golf nuggets across the top. And I was like, "Oh," I said, "I bet somebody told you that you need to tee it really, really high so that you can make it go further." And they all kind of looked at me like, "Well, yeah." And I'm like, "Okay, we're going to stop a bunch of crap right here." I said, "Tee it down." And I said, "Now, this is going to sound awful. I want you to nudge in about a half of an inch closer and then just let your arms dangle. Then hit it." The change was instantaneous. All right. She didn't trust me on the first couple, but the ball went extraordinarily straight. As we got talking through it and worked our way through it, her trust factor went way up. Hence, her swing speed went way up. Quality of hit went way up. And now she was this close to maxing out the driver where she just couldn't do it. And so we worked on that a little bit. Okay. We worked on that a little bit. So now, we told her, armed with these things and keeping her in play, if nothing else, we keep her in play. And so that high 80s, low 90s should be able to translate to a low 80s. And that would be very exciting to see, to be sure. So that one's pardon me. So that was just really exciting to see the fact that this young golfer had a bunch of talent in order to be able to change to make that happen, and then truly get excited about doing better, right? That's always the fun part. That's the fun part we see. All right, the next one, we had a gentleman show up from, I believe it was called Olive Hill, Kentucky, and super nice guy. We fit one of his buddies, and he came up here. Was a low 80s type golfer. Like on the day, it can be low 80s or high 80s, but low 80s golfer. So we got that going. And he was playing a set of MP 52s with the original dynamic golds in them. And he says, "I lost a little distance." I said, "I bet you lost a little bit more than a little distance." So anyway, we got it going, had a very, very nice swing, very fluid. And he was right at the bottom of the regular range and swing. And didn't really didn't put a lot of torque on it. And the original clubs he had were almost in the X-Flex range. So a lot of stuff was fighting against him. So once we got him all figured out, half inch short, a little bit up, he starts throwing darts and actually starts going from a baby fade to a baby draw. So we're making good contact. Says he's never been fit before, never taken lessons. And his hole in his swing was a short game. He had this little choppy swing, and I said, "You gotta know, that is so unlike the whole rest of his game." So we worked on getting him smoothed out and the types of sole grinds that he would like to do. And so we ended up with some Opus X grinds, and so he could open it up a little bit, but he was more of a picker, so he didn't need a lot of sole, but he still needed bounce, hence X grinds. Started smoking it. 8,800 RPM, calling out his number, doing very, very well. So we got that. So we ended up going with that, and then we ended up going with the Mizuno Hot Metal Pro. And I ended up, I tried not to go too extremely strong with him, but as soon as he started hitting 6-iron out to 170, 175, he was sold. And so it was between that. It was really a difference. It was between that and the Apex AI 200, both with about a 115 gram shaft in regular, and just started hitting it very, very well. So I said, just pick it out of field because he hit them equally. I think the ex-Mizuno player wanted to go with Mizuno, so we went with that. And then finally we got into a driver. and he had not had a good driver in his bag, and we competed between all of them, and he ended up going with a Wilson Max driver with a with an Acura GX shaft in it. And the thing was, he just absolutely destroyed this thing. Hit it very, 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 very well. And then we ended up getting him in between. He hit some fairway woods and hit some hybrids. Sorry, and we ended up going with the Wilson hybrids, and with a little swing correction, a little bit of ball choices and stuff, and straighten him right out. So we're real happy with that one. All righty. Oh my. All right, so we're going to salute right here. This is a make your own blend from Nashville Barrel Charlie that I put together. We're calling it the Travel Nurse Pars and Pours because the person sitting across from me was a travel nurse, and we ended up picking it. Okay. I'm going to take a real quick look here. There he is. Okay. Last two things. Emmanuel sent me a picture of something that you don't see every day. Hopefully Emmanuel's on here. He sent me a couple of pictures of some very, very old Callaway parts or clubs. This one. Now, if you guys know what that is just by looking at it, you are awesome. What it is the Callaway Turtle, or Tuttle, sorry. I call it the Turtle because that's probably what it looks like. And it is a bore-through putter, as one can see. See that blacked out there in the lower right? The S2H2 Tuttle putter. That is it looks easy, but these pieces are scalloped much like the drivers. So if you're going to have to do a shaft change on this, it's a pain in the butt, okay, because the bottoms are scalloped, the front scalloped and the other scalloped, and that's where that shaft goes through. And to finish that off takes a lot of patience. It's not impossible, it just takes some patience in order to get into the scallop and not try and modify that scallop so much as you're trying to grind part of that shaft off. However, that was not the issue for him in this one. It was changing out this grip. Look at that thing, the original grip. Now, in a lot of cases, if the golfer is just doing it to bring it back to life, I would suggest not touching it because the original grip is far more valuable than an aftermarket on this case. However, apparently he's using it, and that thing is massively old. And if you can see just enough of it, there's a lot of cracks and crevices on this thing. And the minute what will happen is, we call it make an alligator skin. You go to take that knife and you pull back on it, all it does is just flake off. And it just totally contaminates your collection area because it's just full of this old, nasty rubber grip. And then whatever's left and you go to pull it off, this stuff goes everywhere. And it's just a mess. It's not hard, it's just a mess. And it'll come off in pieces in your hands and all that other stuff. So if you guys are into that and you're getting some older ones, what I would suggest is lay a piece of paper towel in your trough or whatever you use to collect and go a little wider. It's all said and done, just fold it up and then just throw it away. And then that's probably one of the easiest way to do it. Now, the paper underneath of it is going to be almost paper-like. There won't be anything soft about it, and you hit it with a little bit of heat and it ought to peel right off. All right, and the next one is, and this one I haven't seen one of these in a while either, is that. You recognize what that is just by looking at that thing? It is a original Big Bertha. This thing is just a clodhopper of a golf club. And it's just so wide, so big, so offset, so everything. It's hard to even miss the golf ball. And if you can tell on the shaft, it's got the original graphite shaft. And those shafts suck. Okay, there's nothing good you can say about them. The QA on them was poor. The way that they work was poor. And if you were lucky enough to get one that worked, then they were magic. But I can't tell you the number of times I would get something that would say L and it would come out as an X, and vice versa. Okay, hence that. Now we're talking 2 decades ago, and they were awful, and that's the reason why these are literally stuff like that is the reason why guys like me exist, because they couldn't figure out why they couldn't play them, and guys like me would go and they would spec these things out, and they would go, yeah, this thing's way off. Let me put a new shaft in it. Next thing you know, they've got a real weapon. And so thank you, golf industry, for spurring on a whole nother tangent. All right. So if you look at this guy, this one is the end of a graphite shaft. You notice it's got these little different sections. Okay. Now, if I recall correctly, what it was is that there was a jig that you would do at Callaway. And once you got it taken care of, or you're outside the paint removed, you shove this thing in and it just made all of those cuts. Now, you could do it with you'd have to have a very, very, very thin, very, very fine blade. And when I'm talking very fine, I'm talking like that kind of small, okay? In order to be able to do that and go into threes. Well, that didn't exist for me. The best thing I could come away with was 1/8 of an inch. And so what I ended up doing is I did cross patterns, and then I would put the face, and nothing landed on an eye on a line. It always landed in the space between the lines in order to do that. And so instead of a thing that had this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, mine only had 4. And then you see that little bitty tip pin right there in the end. This looks like somebody's already tried to pull it a little bit or started sliding a little bit, because normally what you would see would be flush up against the bottom. So nevertheless, that's what we worked on. Now the last bit is, I promised you a little look at the new club. There you go. Quantum leap in distance. It is called the Quantum. Okay. I was going to show it to you, and then a piece fell out of the box that said, please don't show it until after the 9th or along the 9th. So here's what you're going to get, right? Here it comes. There it is. All right. That's all I can give you, because I really want to stay true to my word that I would not, pass the embargo date. Nevertheless, to say that this thing looks pretty cool. I will say the top the top is not a change from what you would be used to. It has the Kevlar and we'll call it the cup face technology. It's the bottom that looks significantly different. All right, it's significantly different. Now, and of course, I had to ask for the Brandy new style, and they have one of them that I thought would work quite a bit is it is a triple diamond max. And what that means is, we all know that the triple diamond was for that player that could strike the ball pretty consistently, and it was a fade bias club, so that would open up. Well, for those guys that could still hit the ball but couldn't get it closed, is the max. So, and that was a lot of my problem was here as of late is getting club closed. I can find the middle, I just couldn't find the middle with it closed. So now I've got this. It's a slightly smaller club head by 10 or 15 cc's. It's not dramatic. And so we're going to test it. I put a Denali shaft in it just to see how it would work. And you guys will be the first to see it, because I will release it on the 9th. All right, one more thing. As part of our tour that we went on, we went to Lynchburg, Tennessee. And of course, when you go to Lynchburg, you got to stop at Jack Daniels. And as part of the tour that we did, we got a barrel stave. And there it is, barrel stave. A whole entire barrel stave, got it for free. And then you got this. And these little notches that are in there, those are to show you that was from a Sinatra barrel. And so you guys know about Sinatra stuff, then there you go. Okay. So that hit it all. So now back to now back to our normal stuff in that golfing resolutions. Like, what are we going to do better? So down in the show notes, what are the golfing resolutions, right? And the harder question is, how do you intend on keeping it? Okay. My golfing resolution is going to be a little bit more generic because of what I'm doing in the industry. But last year I did not get to play very much golf, nor did I really want to. And the reason being was my swing was so pathetic, I was just embarrassed to actually get out there just because of not being able to get off the tee. And it was awful. It was just bad. And work and work and work. And finally, at the end of the year, of course, at the end of the year, I get a swing that I can at least enjoy, but it hits a bit of a fade, which normally all my stuff was a pull. So my head did not wrap around what was going on. Um, so I'm going to take that positive end of last year and turning it into a desire to go play more golf better, right? And golfing better means nothing more than either equaling or bettering the score that I did before, right? Or if I go out there with an objective in mind, meeting my objective. And that's what I'm going to do, right? I'm seeing that I'm going to use, and I'm going to try and use this E6 thing that I've got at least a handful of times just so I can get used to doing this. And there's mine. All right. So let's get out here and let's start talking to folks. All righty. Raymond Jones, what do you say? He has a Callaway Mavic Standard 10.5 driver. If I cut an inch off the butt, that is 6 swing weight points. Should I add 12 grams to the head? Do you think I'm okay, or add less weight to the head? And it has a 2 gram weight from the factory. All righty. So a couple of things, Raymond. Cutting off an inch, I'm good with that. Number 2, yes, you do not need 12 grams. 12 grams will mess with the actual dynamic of the head, okay? Chances are, if you put half as much in there, you'll probably like it as much. So if you could get an 8 gram and make it look really, really nice, I would say that would be fine, or some combination thereof, because the Mavics have some sort of extra weights in some of them. They didn't have that weight that slid on the back. But if you could come up with another 6 grams, I would say you would be fine. If not, if you can say come up with maybe 4 gram in that weight area and then add on another 4 with some lead tape, you'd be just fine with that too. And I think it would work just fine. Because you don't want to keep adding, because now you're talking about when you get up that high, also the dynamic of the club, but the dynamic of the shaft, you're going to make it softer by a little over a half a flex. So if you put in 6, all that kind of goes away, and I would bet real money you probably wouldn't. Pardon me. You probably wouldn't see a subjective change in your feel that much. Okay. Good start. That was the very best. That's the way to start it right there. First question of the new year. All right. Mark Heelenine. Have you ever done much with hot melt and woods? If so, how do you get the port out of the head without it falling inside much, and how do you replace it? Okay, so I do a little bit. I don't do a tremendous amount, but I do have the machine and I do have rat glue. So I do 2 different ways of doing this, okay? So number 1, in order to get that piece out, you have to use, what we tend to do is we use a very, 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 very small drill bit. All right, because the things that are in there, it's a very, very, very light aluminum or a plastic. I think you would prefer the plastic because it's a little tougher, but very slowly and I'm talking a less than a 16th, and drilling a hole in there. And once you get the hole in there, you just kind of flick it to the side and it will pop it out. It's not in there with any kind of real force. I know some other guys that made hooks that could go in there, and I'm not real sure with such a small space how that really incurred, whether or not it went like that or what you do. But the typical trick was you wanted to drill a hole, and when you got through it, you would pop it back out. That's the biggest way. All right. Now, as far as putting this hot melt in, you got to be very, very careful about where you want to put it in. You know, I'll show you what I mean. So now the biggest mistake here is if, now we're assuming a bonded head. If you have a one that has an adapter, typically there's an opening, and if you can kind of get it cockeyed and shove it in there, you don't have to worry about it. But if you got a bonded head and this comes out, and you start squirting it, and it all will want to stay right about here. All right. Now keep in mind, think of it as hot, sticky plastic. And it's only going to want to go just so far because this head is a heat sink and it's cool. Okay. And it's going to want to get here, and it's going to stop, and it's going to want to be here, and it's going to want to, it'll turn the club into something that wants to close quite a bit. All right. If that is not your goal, take yourself, when they get it in there, take a butane torch and just go underneath here 5 or 6, 7, 8 times in order to heat it up. And what will happen is it'll attract that and it will set it on the bottom. And really what you want is you want it setting in this particular area, because when it sets low in that particular area, it becomes a spin killer. Okay. That a lot of people want. Now, if you wanted it to launch a little bit, you're going to want to throw that heat back in here and have it travel this way so that it gets into the back. So that's how you would do it. Now, as far as putting it back on, it's not going to fall through the hole. Typically, it was one of two things. They have the aluminum plate, and sometimes they got a little sticky on the back end. And the best thing to do is literally what I've done in the past is lick the end of the shaft, do this, put it on the end of the shaft, and just let the bond between the liquid hold on to it, and you shove it down into the hole, and then let the sticky grab into the bottom. If they don't have that, you can just get it in there and use the shaft to push it all the way down in. Now, the plastic ones have like a little lip, and the little lip, you're going to have to shove it all the way down there, make sure it's facing towards the head, and then tap it in, and you'll feel it when it taps in. Worth the price of admission on that one. So that's where you get it. Now, hot melt, you can get hot melt kits anywhere. One of the easiest ways to work is do the rattle stop glue. Maybe mix. You can get. It's easier to work like that. Hot melt is the same stuff. Get a little rat stop, heat it up in a microwave, and literally inject it or pour it in and let it find its way and slide on the way in. But use heat to guide it. Okay. Alrighty. Phil K, Happy New Year, Jim and Robin and all. Same to you, bud. I resolved to get more limber, not to injure myself again, and practicing more. Mizuno M1315 reviews have showed up on YouTube. Word is no left-handed M15s. You are correct, sir. We placed our orders for those things, I think, today. So I didn't know that this was the time frame for it, but yeah, the 13s are more of the 243s and the 15s are the 245s. Not a good call in my book. I think the 245s, I've seen them. I think the 245s are going to be pretty sweet. Again, hollow body clubs. But because of that, if they're not, then another one, Wilson, that's coming out, they're coming out with a hollow bodied iron and for a lefty and righties. And though I think those, before anybody pulls a trigger, I'd wait for Wilson to show up just to have a comparison, because I think that's going to be a very, very good comparison, right? I think the month of January and February are going to be really great. for comparisons. There we go, Manuel. What do you say, buddy? Happy New Year to all of all our global gearheads on here. Well, thank you, sir. Hopefully that you keep getting better. That's what we're here for. So if any of you guys are out there, throw a little prayer towards Manuel's way so he can get healthy for 2026. John Cherry, saw a little picture of you on Facebook, buddy. He says, Happy New Year, everybody, from Myrtle Beach. My resolution is to seriously practice more. God only knows I need it. Don't we? Don't we all? Don't we all? My one of my resolutions, I think, is when I go golfing out there with my buddy Bob, is not to get mad at one whole round. That would be something. All right, man. It says New Year's resolution: 500 touches per week, 250 putts, 150 wedges, 50 irons, 50 driver. Over 7 days should be achievable. Oh, over 7, yeah, not bad. Well done, sir. I hope you get it. It says in his prime, Tiger did 1,000 touches per day getting ready for a tournament. Yeah, you hear all the stories, right? Him about practicing with the 8-iron, trying to get it to do what he needed it to do. And he would just do 1,000 shots just with that thing, just so he could see it. There's Charlie. Hope your trip was fun and stress-free. It was, bud. It was. It was a lot of fun. Met a lot of really cool people. That was really the best part of it. Met some really cool people at Old Louisville, Buzzard's Roost, and Nashville Barrel. Here's one for you, so you can go on the lookout and do a little support. Hold on a minute. I knew I had something bothering me. Nashville Barrel Company, one of the co-owners of the Master Blender, Taster, whatever you want to call them, is a bubblehead. Found that out while we were down there. That was kind of neat. Greenbrier, the guys there were phenomenal. Nelson's Greenbrier. Leaper's Fork, the guy that gave us a tour is Sir Paul Bassett, and he was Her Majesty's Navy surface guy. And he says, "Oh, you called us all targets." And I said, "That would be correct." And so we did that. Very, very nice people. The one that really threw me for a loop was George Dickel. That guy was outstanding. And then the folks at Chattanooga were good. One of my favorites was the guy at Old Tennessee. It was in Sevierville. So if you guys are ever going towards Sevierville, Pigeon Forge, that kind of stuff, Old Tennessee, it's a moonshine / whiskey, more moonshine than whiskey. And they're right across from the Buc-ee's over there. So, and just a real pleasant visit. It really is. Okay. David Jones. Play more and visit my number one fitter. Oh, come on, sir. We'll have you come on over. There's Robin saying hello. Raymond saying hello back. Saying hello to Mark. There's Krister. Man, I like this new little layout we got here with the way these layout things work. From a cold and snowy Sweden. Sounds like you're inside for the season there, Krister, and for your getting ready for the simulator leagues. Did you get all your new clubs yet? That's the burning question. My dog Rex, he's 80 today. Oh, crud. I will say this, though. When we took off on the trip, day after Christmas, it was light, like a vest day. That was all it took. And the next 2 days down in Tennessee, I was wearing shorts. It got up into the 70s. I was like, yep, this is perfect. And then right after that, right back down into the low 50s with the wind howling. So regular clothes went right back on. Robin saying I had to feel K. And Emmanuel. Here we go. Congratulations on 42. The wife and I hit 51 in April. Oh, we'll hit. All right. Nicely done, sir. These are some numbers that you normally don't see anymore. Charlie, we had a great time. See, even if she said it, you know we did. All righty. I have sampled up through number 7 and not found any I did not like. I'm saving samples and waiting till the end before I open the reveal. This way I can see what I'm tasting as I taste it. All right, have fun with it, dude. The other guy I sent it to, he's already done and through it. He enjoyed it. He didn't like one of them, so out of the 12, which I could see, but it was kind of a roller coaster of flavor as far as I'm concerned. I will tell you this, Charlie. My mind has been absolutely 100% changed on this one. If you ever come up and you see a George Dickel 8-year and bottled in bond or 8-year, it's definitely well worth it. It's like drinking cotton candy from a bottle. Manuel says, "Congratulations on the anniversary." Well, thank you, sir. Pinion Golf, he's back. How you doing, bud? And Peter, what do you say, bud? Happy New Year to you. Hype and NT500. Not to destroy clubs from frustration. Yes, that is that it's nobody thinks that you just give it up. And for hyper competitive people, that is a very, very hard thing to do. And the idea is I will give you this. I'll give you this little bit of a tip. I got it from, and I had to read. There was a series of books on mentally getting ready, and they were little bitty short books. And I wish I could remember the guy's name, but golf is a game of now. It's all that kind of stuff. They had 4 little books, and he was a doctor in sports psychology, and he made things to understand. And once I read it, I was like, okay, and it's very well worth the read, and in order to understand it, but it takes a while. It's not an overnight thing. I will say that. Congrats to you on the anniversary, you kids. Our 43 is this Thursday. Don't tell Polly K, but I got her cheap chocolate covered cherries. Well, I hope it goes over smooth for you, bud. You talked about not getting injured. Yeah. Oh, hopefully we'll send some prayers. We'll send some prayers Phil's way after he does that. I recognize that couch, Jim. It's one of those you eat grapes while lying back. Yeah, yeah. Says thank you, Emmanuel. Robin talking. Yes, I didn't. I send you a thank you. I could have sworn I did. Hold on a minute. Right back here. Peter sent me this, and it says, "Okay, boomer," and it's a boomer submarine. It's right there with my Naval Academy head cover. That's pretty cool. Appreciate that. Thank you very much, sir. I don't know if Jim messaged you for the cool gift we left the morning after, but he loved it. There, you're right. That was very cool. Charlie wants to know if Krister's got anything new in the bag. We asked that one. We're going to find out here in a minute. Robin's saying congratulations on 43. Charlie says, to Charlie, nothing new in the bag this week. But you did settle on the orcas, right? You settled on the orcas and the irons. I couldn't remember if you settled on a driver just yet. Robin saying hello to my dog Rex. Peter says, I'm glad you like it. I was able to find it last time I was in D.C. Naval Shipyard. Nuke your submarine section. I spoke to Averill and he gave me the head cover. Oh, there you go. Very cool. Thank you. The Admiral. Oh. He says, went to the D.C. Navy Shipyard. Nuke submarine. Spoke to the Admiral and gave me the head cover. That's cool. That's very cool. Thank you very much. Mark Beelan, will a shorter driver shaft make you swing up on it? No. Would shorter driver shafts make you swing or up on it? I would say no. So what we found out, Mark, is through lots and lots and lots and lots of testing that the average driver is typically just too long. Okay, it's just too long. And what happens is that the club is so big. Right, here we go again. Splash, watch it go by. All right, the golf club head is just so big that from a cosmetic appearance, they made it that length. And it was also a calculated length to be sure, because golfers have a tremendously short memory when it comes to bad golf shots. And they go, oh man, I should have seen I hit it one really good on 13 or 14. Okay, well, what did you do on the rest? Well, I just need to work on a little bit. That is a sure sign that you've got the wrong length driver in your bag. Okay. We did this study, and the largest percentile that were under the bell curve, 44 and a half, 44 and three quarters, which just so happens to be a tour standard, works the best. And that allows you to swing the way that you would normally swing, just more comfortably, and find the middle of the face better. And that's what would help. Because chances are, if you got a longer club, you're making some sort of move, or whatever, in order to adjust for that length. The best way to do it is get yourself a ruler and just come down and see this line, because I do it with my fittings. Come down an inch, right? The half inch is basically the cap. So you get your hand so it starts like right about there for a half, right there for an inch. Hit 10, 15, 20 drivers just to get used to it and see what happens. That way you'll know. John Lamb, Happy New Year to all the McGolf followers. Hope the New Year celebrations were memorable. Also, Jim Robin had a wonderful anniversary. We did. Kudos on a long marriage. Well, thank you, sir. Appreciate that. Yeah, it was, again, I think it was fun. I'd like to travel down there and do it some more. Of course, it's that carrot in front of the damn donkey again. They've got a distillery tour map and stuff like that out there as well. And we got it started, and we got a significant chunk taken out of it. But we have to plan these one accordingly, because it's quite a ride to go down there and see all these places. All right, John Lamb, thank you. There's Lawrence. What do you say? Happy New Year golf this week in the Northeast? I don't know. I don't think so. It's been kind of chill. Well, Charlie's going to golf no matter what. Matt's probably going to golf no matter what. But right now, it hit about 55. 55 around here. I could golf in that, no problem. I'm kind of a weenie. Robin saying hello. Lawrence waiting for the snow to melt. Oh, had a few light snowfalls, but it's been so cold it hasn't melted. Hopefully this weekend. There's Charlie getting after it. Very good. All right. John says he decided on a 7-wood going in the bag, ditched the hybrid. So it's a ping 430, 10.5 max, a 40-35 wood, 16 degree, and a 7 wood. When I can find one at a decent price. There you go. Yeah, that's probably a good little setup for you. 16 degree. The other one's going to be around 21, so you're going to have plenty of coverage as far as spacing for distance goes. So I'd say that'd be fine. 7 woods are kind of that transition type of club, because the 7 woods are very upright. Okay, they're very upright. They're also shorter, and if you like the look of them, then more's the better. Dean Walker, what do you say, sir? Glad to see you make it on here. And Happy New Year to Jim Robin. Happy New Year to you, too. And that's what Robin is saying. Wayne, what do you say, buddy? Happy New Year's to you. John says, I wish I could wait for the snow to melt soon. Been staring at the cherry trees in the front yard covered in Hoar frost all week. Hoar frost? Cold and really foggy for 3 days. Oh, yeah. Okay. My calendar's showing the 9th. It'll be ready, man. I'll have her done here in the next day or two. I am predicting pretty good things. The face technology on this thing is different. The layout on it is different. And I'm going with the idea I've always need something that would reduce my spin. And there's a weight that's just very far forward on this thing. And 99 times out of 100, a nice weight up forward means lower spin. And that's kind of what I'm hoping on. So lots of good things. The Tuttle putter, see more of them on the course from time to time. If it fits your eyes, it can be deadly. I would agree. Right? That one is as funky as it looks, was very upright. And it got that more, it almost forced you into that pendulum motion. Because it was heel shafted, even some of the arcers could get away with it. Not the real heavy ones, but the small arcers could get away with it too. And it was a solid club, so the feedback on it was pretty doggone good. He agrees. Yep. Everyone hit that like button. I didn't say that at the beginning, did I? So we'll do it right here since Mrs. McGolf led me into it. If you would, like, subscribe, hit that bell and all that notification crap across the bottom. That way the subscribership goes up. We actually made it to 44,000. Hit the mark yesterday or 2 days ago. Trying to really get that up there for the year. And this helps a lot. Mine too. Charlie says, starting tomorrow, our highs will be above freezing. Thursday will be in the 40s, Friday in the 50s. So by Saturday, we should be good to go. Yeah, so it started out when I went to work this morning, the low was 22. And when I got in the car at the end of the day, it was 52. It's a pretty wild swing, but that's what's going on around here. There you go, Robin. Krister, you live in the land of ice and snow. He most certainly does. So, Krister, we're going to start seeing more of that putting thing that you had going on with that putt out. I'm just intrigued that you can do that and do it repetitively. That you're going to have to tell us your secret on that one. Charles and John, near 50 degrees will feel like summer. I don't know if there will be snow on the grass, but it will be good to get out. Yes. I think a lot of people are going to sneak out. I mean, a lot of the times what you do is you like to say, hey, I golfed at least once every month in the year of blank. And I've only been able to do it twice. And but I don't do like a Charlie or a Matt does. I just don't do that. All right. Charlie, I meant the embargo date, but yes, I do. We had 3 days of constant snowing, and now we have like minus 12. Wahoo! Wow. That's put on your couple of caps on that one. John says, Charles, we have to wait for a Chinook to come through. Temps can go from 70s in the day. There are a few courses that will open for a day or two. I've golfed every month of the year in Calgary. All right. That's what we were talking about. There we go. Says, Krister, that's why I removed my comment. I figured out you were replying to my comment on the date being the 9th. He was talking about the embargo date. Okay. Wayne says, Happy New Year's, Jim and Robin. All your wishes come true. More golf is my resolution. And I like that. I like golf being more golf being a resolution. As much as they would like to not tell you, I think that the rounds per capita were probably down a little bit this year. And I don't know if it was all the strife, all the other things that they had to get done. There's 100 excuses for it. Other than people just like to go golfing, right? And I hope we see a bit of a turn with that. and maybe some of this equipment will get people excited, and we'll go from there. But I would like to see that go up myself. I'm going to hopefully contribute to that. Chad Jones. All right. Hi, Jim and Robin. Got out to play 9 here in Southern Ohio. Well, other than the winds, it wasn't too bad. Now, if I could just remember how to swing the club. Isn't that the way? Isn't that the way? Oh, I mean, where'd you get a chance? Where did you play at? Because I would have figured, I mean, if you're in this kind of Southern Ohio, I imagine JC's would have been open. They probably would have opened up the Elks. There have been a couple others. Manchester was probably open. Anywhere that the golf courses could get a little extra going for the end of the year or the beginning of the year, it can't hurt, right? As long as we're not destroying the golf course, that's really the other trick of it. John, golfing every month in the year, Calgary is quite the feat, especially when the weather comes into play. Yes, I would agree. You need a snorkel, some swim fins, a parka, the shorts, just one of everything, I think. Robin saying hello to Wayne. John says, we have warm weather coming in this week, 34 to 36. But if you can hit heated outdoor driving ranges, well, there you go. You can do like a manual and doing that touches, doing the 250 touches. That would be nice, right? 250 putts in a week. And if you really think about it, if you just did 50 putts and did it in 5 days, you would get it all and have a couple days of rest. And then towards the end of those 5 days, he could start hitting the driver 10 or 20 times, and he would be done without really going overboard. Robin saying hello to Chad. Peter says, my golf wrestler has become a great putter. You go, man. That's what we want to see. Hell, he's already doing pretty good. I don't know how much you need to become great, but dang, dude. You did all right already. Wayne wants to know, when you polish the graphite shaft, do you put wax on the head of the drivers, 3 and 5 woods, and knowing nothing on the face? Yes. That's what we do. So I do a wipe down of the shaft, do a wipe down of the head. I will polish the driver head if necessary with my wheel with the Glanswatch on it and the unstitched wheel because it's soft and it's very light, right? Very light. It's good for taking out scratches, right? And polishing it up real good, bottom and top, the hosel area if necessary, and parts of the shaft if you really need to do it. Wipe that down, and then I wax the whole thing with, it's just cheap car wax from Turtle Wax. And we go through that. In fact, we started one at the end of the year, and I finished my second can at the week before we left on our vacation. So I'm averaging about 2 cans a year, and that's waxing basically everything that comes through. And you're correct, not on the face, only because it's a rule, right? It's a rule where you don't want to put any foreign material on there. Now, if you want to have some fun and put some wax on it, nobody would be the wiser what you did. And the first 2 or 3 shots will be straight as an arrow. After that, nah, because you've just basically wore it off because it's soft wax, right? Even though it says hard shell finish, once it gets hit with a golf ball, it's gone. So you could do that as well. John Lamb's talking to Charlie, says yes, but on the flip side, I've also golfed in the snow every month of the year. Okay. So it's a give and take. His toque never leaves the bag. There you go. You're absolutely correct, Wayne. We knew where that was going on. That's good. John says, do you use an orange ball when you play in the snow? You know, I've seen that. We've had some guys. There's a meme, a couple of guys that are local around here playing. They played on Christmas Day. Christmas Day was actually quite benign. It was just a little bitty blowing, a little bitty. Um, it's just real nice. It was cool, but it was nice. And then they went and tried to do New Year's Eve, and it was blowing and howling. And that was a whole different animal watching these guys try to tee off. Regular golf gloves, rain golf gloves, warmer golf gloves bring lots into play when shopping for a new bag. No kidding. Let's say John needs a staff bag no matter where he goes. Then says usually a yellow one, though we do roll up in the snowman effect on your golf ball a few inches bigger. I can't tell you this. So I know I told this story several years back, but I left Cedar Rapids, Iowa for here, and we lived on the backside of a golf course, and the golf course itself was called St. Andrews. And when you went out of the community, St. Andrews was bisected by the highway, the road, and you went under the road and you played 3 holes and then you came back. And one of them, the green, was right there next to the road, right? And so on our way out, when I was leaving, when we were leaving for the very last time, it was snowing. It was snowing flakes the size of silver dollars. It was just coming down, true typical Iowa weather. The day before, we were loading up and we were all sweating, and the next day we couldn't get warm enough. And what did we see on the way out? But there was 4 guys on a golf green, frozen greens, in snow caps, gloves, swinging with parkas on, and they were out there having it, just out there having it. And I thought, oh my goodness gracious. And I guess those guys did it all the time like that. I was like, no, that's not me. Rum says, good luck. Oh, look at that. Good luck for me? Heck yeah. John, when reaching the greens in the snow, is it an automatic 2-putt? I would say I would give it to him. That's for sure. Yep, we play winter rules, let you keep pace at golf up to snuff. You and the other 3 people on the golf course? Here, Krister says, yeah, I got New Irons last year, did a gap check the day before Christmas. All right. Bob Rotella, that is exactly right, Charlie. Bob Rotella. So whoever's asking me about not throwing the golf clubs, I have to go back. Anyway, whoever's not asking me, Bob Rotella. He's got just a little bitty box of books on how to think about golf, and just if you look him up, I would suggest that read entirely. What's Krister hitting now? Let's see, 5 irons, 198. That's respectable. 185 for the 6, 172 for the 7, almost 173, 160. 146 and 134. Let's see. Let's look at this. 185. That's a good one. 13. 13. 6. That's right at 13. And another one is 13. You got it going on, dude. That's a good dispersion right there. I'd take that all day long. Well done. Now you just need to know not to hit a 50, not to leave yourself 150 yards out. That's great. Those are great numbers. John says, New Year's golf resolution is keep my swing changes going on the course and to smack the ball the same way I do on the driving range. Yes, that would be the great way to go with it. Don't let something, what does it call it? Paralysis by analysis. Let's not go there. Orca RS10s. There we go. That's a good thing. I'm glad. I want to hear how good you're doing about midsummer. James Geiger, there he is. Jim Robin, wish you both healthy and happy new year. Looking forward to another great year of informative content. Well, thank you, sir. Appreciate it. So cheers. All right. I read they shut down the Beam Distillery because business has been so bad. Well, yes, they did. They called it shuttering they're shuttering for 2026. Now, that's a pretty bold statement, but you got to keep in mind that Beam probably has about 6 to 7 million barrels on inventory. And yes, the demand for it has gone down. And the funny part is the biggest demand has been overseas. UK, Asian Rim, that kind of stuff. Apparently really likes bourbon, but this tariff thing has got them all kind of riled up. At least that's what they'll tell you. I call that's crap if they truly wanted it, because what these people don't see is the tariffs that we're paying on the stuff that come in the same way, and they expect us to eat it. So I say just let it ride, and eventually it'll eventually fix itself. But you never know; things could get a little different. But in the last generation of kids don't think drinking bourbon is very healthy, so they're going to drink White Claws, and which is kind of unique in the fact that it's still alcohol. So I don't know where their thinking is at, but hey, every generation's got their way of going about it, so let them have at it. But you're right; it's they're doing it, and keeping in mind that Jim Beam can make as much in a day as most any five normal distilleries around him can do. So, but they're keeping open the two. They have two other smaller distilleries for special batch type stuff, and that stuff's going to keep going. So what I'm kind of hoping we'll see is a whole bunch of new Knob Creek products coming out, and maybe the Booker's that's coming. Booker's game will go up, yeah, because they got to put out good product, otherwise the barrels will never go away. So it says after the gap check, we changed the lie angle on the 8 through pitching wedge to 2 flat. So 1 5 through 7 1 flat, 8 through 7 2 flat, just because the shorter club's slower to satisfy my brain. Well, as long as you're not fading them out, man, and you're making good. The really important part here is making good contact. And if you got that separation, it really looks like you are. So I nobody's going to argue with you on that one. Okay, Krister, I bet those angles will help with turf interaction. That's what it is. That's what it's really all about. Chad Jones, yes, it does. Gap check turned into a coaching session as well. Normally, it happens a little bit here too when we do them. 7 wood is where it's at. Love his ping G430. So versatile and forgiving. Low irons are the thing of the past. Come like V8 engines on cars. Now let's not get too excited about the V8 engine part. But I would agree on the the twos, the threes, and the fours. Uh, those are they're from a golf perspective, the way courses are made, the way things are done, those are really, you got to be a pretty decent golfer to get the 4 iron going, and you got to have some swing speed too, because the lofts are so strong anymore. Even on the players clubs, the lofts have gotten stronger, and it's really hard to get that ball in the air, which makes that 7 wood or that 4 hybrid very, very utilitarian like. Now there may be a push to get back into a driving iron sort of thing, but again, that still takes a special person. I have a putout gym, and I was chipping from about 12 feet away, and one went up and stayed in. I even took a picture of it. That's a unicorn right there, Charlie. I mean, I've got one too, and yeah, I've made a few, but Krister makes it look like he's got that little ball in a cup on the cup with a ball and a string, and he's just like doing this all day long, and he just kept making them and making them and making them. I'm like, that is some serious tempo going on right there. I don't know if I could do it. The funny part is the people that do the best are kids. I watch kids, and it's like being at a video game. They go, "Oh, you just want to put it in the hole? Yeah, okay, bonk, 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 in the hole." I'm like, "Oh my gosh, not overthinking it, just doing it." Krister says to Charlie, yes, it does. The gap check turned into coaching session where we focused on weight shift and started the ball out to the right of the target with a small draw. Hey, there you go. That's what we like to see. Now, if you got that done, that meant that you're from what I've seen you in the past, you changed a little bit of your the target might have been when you changed your target, that probably changed your plane a little bit because you kind of always were a little steep. That's not a bad thing. That's just what it was. And fade with maybe a bit of it could turn into a pretty good sized pull. So that could be a very positive thing because you could play relaxed. Chad Joe's resolution to get to single digit handicap. That would be cool. That would be really nice. I got real close, just never got out there. Krister, by the time your active tournament season gets here, you'd be ready to go. I'd agree completely. Here we go. Luke Frankel Golf. All right. I'm treating 2026 as a build season. Keep the ball in play, keep the pace moving, and keep my ego short on a shorter leash than my wedges. Good man. That's actually not bad. If you keep, hell, you see even the when they had all those golf instructor weekly golf shows. That what was it? They always said avoid three putts, avoid double bogeys, keep the ball in front of you, and your scores will automatically go lower. Good idea. Chad, Adams County played at Hilltop. Yeah. Okay. Know where that's at. I want to play there one day. One day I'll get out there. Imagine that. That could get kind of breezy. There you go. Ron saying hello. Sent you guys an email on the freezer selection. Hope you got it. You want one that says it's garage ready. It'll look in warmer temperatures. Yes, we did get that. Thank you very much. And from where you're at in your climate, you would know better than most. That's what we're considering next. Charles, yes, I hope that also with the new club addressed this season. Of course, that Donald Steele has designed. Oh, he's going to a new club. All right. Man, we're going to see it. We're going to see Krister going to the club championship, and we'll see him getting his own parking spot. We can see it coming. Not sure what you're talking about. It was I asked him, or he sent us an email on freezers. I was talking about a chest freezer versus an upright and what to look for, and he sent it out there. He's one of many that was all about uprights. Freezer retirement, you were talking about getting another freezer to put in the garage. Yeah, that's it. Oh, man. Shamogiddy Bow. Okay. Is this thing moving again? Come on, man. Are you still using the TZ90 constant weight in your Srixon ZX5s? Got some for Christmas. When you were testing them, did you soft step them? I don't have them in my ZX. I've never had ZX5s. I've tested ZX5s, but I've had Wilson and I've had Mizuno and I've had Callaway, and I put the 95s, the TZ 95s. What did I put them in? They're over here. Yeah, put them in a Mizuno. I put them in a Mizuno, and what I did is the ones I got. Yes, I did. I soft stepped them. I soft stepped them one because they do play a little firm. Hello, she says. Oh, Charlie, I don't remember that conversation. I'll look. And she does keep them all, man. Most of the liquor outlets up here still have no American booze on the shelves for sale. Wondering how much this is affecting the market. You can tell they say that they've been impacted, John. That they can tell the sales are off. And that's the stores or whatever. That's them protesting that one, and eventually, hey, drink the Canadian whiskey then. You know, I don't know what to tell you. I don't know what to tell them. I don't know what to tell all these people. You know, they're getting mad. These guys are getting mad for no apparent reason and absolutely nothing they can do about it. So if you like it, fine. If you don't like it, that's fine too. And but whatever it is, get over it and go from there. It's one thing to do it with a putter. It's a whole nother thing to do it with a wedge. You're absolutely 100% squared away on that one. I can still count 0 for me to do that. Four hybrids go 2 and second shots on par 5s. You're smoking them then right there. I like my 4 hybrid. I carry a 3, a 4, and a 5. And I've got one jacked up just a little bit to get a little bit more out of it. But yeah, that's my go-to as well. And then Chad's at a 13.4. Well, 3 strokes quite a bit when you get down that low, but it's not impossible to be sure. I have a video on YouTube where I delay the release of the club until the weight shift is finished. Ooh, I bet that's really behind the ball. Wow. Jim Beam, Red Stash, my go-to. Hope it doesn't get discounted or discontinued. Nah, you're going up. Oh, I'm getting the sign. We're almost done. I don't think it will. I think it's just a matter. I think they got enough, James. It's just they're trying to match demand, right? If the demand goes, then they can start it back up and get right back there. Gotcha. Thanks, Jim. I'm doing the same. Well, very cool. I think you'll enjoy them. It's very good for a guy that late release and wants to hit the ball in a controlled fashion. I like the shafts. I like the 95. I could play them again right now. I'm just playing the 105s right now. Few Canadian distillers are now making bourbon. Don't know how they are on the palate, but they are on the shelves. Probably not very aged though. Yeah. That's the real John. That's the real trick because you need a fairly, we'll call it a fairly active climate, being very cold and not getting very hot is what we call a mild temperature. And although that's not bad, but your aging time frame goes up as opposed to going down. So I can't see it getting very good. But I've been wrong 100,000 other times in my life, so this would just add to the list. Just add to my list. All right, it's almost 7. We went a little bit long as we normally do, which is great. And we got down to the bottom. Yeah, guys, this is the first one. The first one, 2006. We'll call it edition number 1. Guys, thank you for showing up and asking the questions. Remember to like and subscribe. Tell your people if they want to answer some more questions or go see some more videos, check us out over there. Also, we also have another channel called Pars and Pours. It's more of a golf-centric whiskey channel. I just got done talking about our trip and what I was able to bring home. And again, I thank you so much for watching and dropping in. And watch for this because I will have the comparison out with everybody else. And as always, let's see your scores. Go low.